She was a college athlete.
I have been able to be the person that I am, and my parents have allowed me to also be that person.
But now Abby Molina worries other young transgender women won't get a chance to compete in the sports they love. 7 states have passed laws this year that ban trans girls and women from participating in high school and college sports. More than a dozen other states have introduced similar bills. Alexa Liacko sat down with Abby to talk about the bans.
You won't catch her sitting still for a minute. Abby Molina is training for her college's basketball tryouts, and being back on the court feels like being home.
I started off myself playing flag football, basketball, softball, track. Those were just like my escapes.
The youngest of 5 siblings, Molina learned her love for the game from her brothers. But from a young age, she wanted to be more like her sisters.
This is me in my favorite pink sweater.
Those around her began to notice too.
The coach told my brother they were cutting me because I was too girly to play.
Abby was born male.
My brother just looked at me and he asked me, "Do you want to be a boy or a girl?" And I just stayed quiet, and in that moment he just knew.
Inside, Abby felt like a woman. It wasn't easy for her deeply religious family to accept. Her parents took her to a priest when she was 14 years old.
And in front of me, he said this, he's like, "You have to accept your child because your child is your daughter. And if you don't accept them as your daughter, then you're not going to have a child at all. You will lose this person from your life." Thanks to him, I have been able to be the person that I am, and my parents have allowed me to also be that person.
She did find acceptance as she transitioned through high school.
I got to repress my puberty, and I grew up a girl.
But that happiness was interrupted when she joined the women's college basketball team.
That coach approached me the following practice and just said, "Abigail, are you transgender?" Like in front of everybody. Yeah, I told her I am transgender. And she said, "Well, you have to be on hormones for at least 2 years." Well, I've been on them for like 10, maybe 12. And then she's like, "Well, do you have a vagina?" And I looked her in the eye and I said, "Would you like to see it?" And she just stayed shocked.
After that, they allowed her on the court.
I look and fit the part of the female, biology. So how absurd would it be for me to play with men if I've undergone these things?
Her teammates became her biggest support.
It made me feel better about myself because I had all these other girls behind me, cheering me on, playing with me, and embracing me with open arms.
But states across the country are banning transgender female athletes from participating in school sports, with Minnesota attempting to make it a petty misdemeanor for trans women to play on girls' teams.
For somebody who hasn't been taking hormone replacement therapy, that's where the conversation strikes and it becomes controversial. Because, biologically, physically, these people do have somewhat of an advantage.
But Abby believes there is a way for everyone to play fairly.
I think that's when we really need to take into consideration, your hormones, whether or not you've been transitioning and you've been repressing the testosterone.
The solution may not be simple, but she hopes in the end, acceptance wins. Because the consequences of exclusion are a burden too heavy to carry.
You're telling these transgender people that they are only good for one aspect in life, not for an education, not to be part of a sport, not to grow with other peers. We deserve our right to participate, regardless of whatever sport, activity it is. We are here to stay.
For The Race, I'm Alexa Liacko.
I'm Chris Conti in Nashville, Tennessee, the heart of the conservative South, where Shannon Wood and her husband Peter have owned Dark Horse Theater for the last 3 decades.
We have had theater here for a long time, and we've always tried to be inclusive.
While they love drama, they prefer for it to be on their stage, not in the place where it has unexpectedly started unfolding.
No one has ever complained about our all-gender bathrooms.
Under a new state law passed in Tennessee, it's possible Dark Horse Theater could have to put up signs saying they let transgender people use the multi-purpose restrooms here.
What happens if somebody goes into a bathroom that is not the gender that they were assigned at birth, I mean, are they going to put those people in jail?
It's been tough, and I will tell you I'm exhausted.
As the CEO of the LGBT Chamber of Commerce in Nashville, Joe Woolley has worked hard over the last decade to push back on legislation which discriminates against the LGBT community. He's been successful in this deeply conservative state by playing the economic angle.
You know, I talk to companies on a weekly basis. They're concerned about what it's like for LGBT people to live here in the South, to live here in Tennessee.
For years, Woolley and other LGBT groups partnered with small businesses, major corporations who lobbied lawmakers to not support things like the bathroom bill. And it worked.
It harms businesses' ability to attract and retain the talent that they need.
This year, though, something changed.
For the first time ever, the business voice was not listened to. Businesses were told to shut up, stay out of politics, and I think it was an eye-opening moment.
2021 has been a record year when it comes to anti-transgender legislation. 33 states have passed more than 100 bills, all aimed at curbing the rights of transgender people.
Did you contact any trans families or trans people about this bill?
No, I did not.
Joe Woolley is concerned about the kind of long-term economic impact this type of legislation will have on states as businesses and conventions potentially go elsewhere.
They're clearly targeting transgender individuals and trans youth. That's because it's easy. They picked one of the most marginalized groups in the country.
As for Shannon Wood and her husband Peter,
there's acts and an intermission and you have 5 minutes. And I think people want to go to the bathroom and they don't want to think about where they're going.
They have no plans on changing how their bathrooms work because they know the kind of message these signs send.
That means everybody feels welcome.
For The Race, I'm Chris Conti.
The man who survived conversion therapy, next on The Race.